Hi there guys, thought I'd do a new style of video today where I give you some commentary and recap the event just gone this past weekend, more specifically the co-main event between Israel Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum. So let's get right into it, shall we? First thing I noticed was the intensity that the guys came out with, like the looks on their faces. I mean, you knew that this was going to be a war, like immediately. And when they had their stare down and they touched gloves, man, it was something to bear witness, I swear. But as the fight started, I immediately took note of Israel's movement and footwork. I really liked the way he looked, and I liked Gastelum's footwork as well. Both men were displaying some very, very good distance management and the like. I thought Israel would start out with a lot of leg kicks to, keep Gastelum at bay, and that's exactly what he did. First thing he fired was a teep kick, followed by like an outside leg kick, I think, and a few other kicks. It was definitely the opening part of his game plan. He lands a good, well, better than good, a beautiful body kick at about 4 minutes in, I think. But Gastelum starts to make the read on Izzy already. I would imagine that him and his coach will have noted it on when watching video of Israel, because the amount of time it took him to start throwing it and making the read kind of suggests he already knew that this would be an opening. But he immediately looks to lead with the jab and then get Adesanya to lean back, and as Israel leans back, he comes in with the hook to sort of catch Israel off guard. And it gets closer and closer as the round goes on, for sure. And about 2 minutes 52, he finally manages to land it after pouring away at the lead hand of Israel with Gastelum's lead right. He kind of comes over the top with a left hook, lands clean as you can imagine, right on Israel's chin, and drops Israel straight to the ground. And that's actually the 6th consecutive opponent that Gastelum's managed to drop in his fights, which is a pretty good feat, to say the least. But as soon as he does that, he begins to start getting a bit wild, like looking for the finish a bit too much, and that's never a good thing to do against a guy like Israel. He's just too good. Head movement's too good. Distance management is too good. You're just going to waste stamina. And that's exactly what he does. And Israel shows off some absolutely flawless head movement as he ducks and dips and dives around Gastelum's punches and weaves out the way. But ultimately the round, I think, does go to Gastelum for that drop, because the way he landed it, it was just so good. So perfectly timed. And I would definitely give the round to Gastelum. I'd say it was a 10-9. So we move into round 2, and Izzy immediately starts off taking centre of the octagon and fires off some gorgeous body kicks, with the third one landing really deep in. It cuts right into the body of Gastelum, and immediately you see it take effect, and Gastelum sort of slows down a bit, gets a bit ploddy on with his footwork. He does pick up again, sort of about a minute later, but it does definitely take effect for a little bit, definitely slows him down, makes him think twice about coming in. But Kelvin does shortly after that manage to land a nice little sort of looping hook to Israel's body, which I did like. I liked how he threw that. I thought it was a very nice way of getting to the body, getting an opponent that's got the reach on you and is very, very far away. It was very good the way he sort of leaned forward and sort of pushed right forward into the strike and caught the body. Yeah, I did very much like it. It didn't necessarily do too much damage, but it was a very, very well thrown strike. So Izzy, at about 3 minutes 50 seconds in, manages to land a beautiful body head combo, but Gastelum comes back with a jab and misses on the hook afterwards, to which Izzy replies with a beautiful switch head kick that partially lands. Gastelum does block it, but it half wraps round the block and sort of glances on Gastelum. Definitely a good kick though. And Gastelum comes back shortly after with a good jab before Izzy then comes back with a knee to the head. He kind of pulls Gastelum into it. Sorry. Sorry, guys. He pulls Gastelum into it and sort of knees him. It only glances, but it does nevertheless do a bit of damage. Definitely stuns Gastelum a little bit, makes him, sort of sit back and regain his senses a little. But at 2 minutes 14, Gastelum lands a good jab and tries to come over with the hook again, but Izzy leans back, completely avoids it, and comes back with his own counter right. Absolutely gorgeous. Lands clean right on Gastelum's chin and just drops him. Just right there and then drops him straight to the ground. Absolutely beautiful. But it was unfortunately just a flash drop. It wasn't, any form of anything too damaging. So Gastelum does manage to get right back up again. But then Izzy begins to just take over for the rest of this round. He lands a gorgeous body kick into the jab, which sends Gastelum into the fence. As about 48 seconds in, I think it was, Izzy lands this absolutely devastating, like John Jones-esque spinning elbow right to Gastelum, which drops him again right to the floor, and he's down like a spud. Literally just completely collapses him, and the round easily goes to Israel. Easily. 10-9, I would give it. I know there were 2 drops, but Gastelum did land some good punches here and there. He landed some good hooks. So I wouldn't call it a 10-8. I would say it was a 10-9. But we move into round 3. And round 3 was a bit of a stalemate. There was a lot of reading each other, timing each other, showing a lot of fakes, a lot of head movement, good reading from the both of them, good distance management, but a lot of stalemate. Nothing too devastating landed from either gentleman till about 1 minute 20 in, or 1 minute 20 left. Sorry, and Gastelum sinks in an absolutely gorgeous takedown. Gets right into half guard. I loved the way he sunk it in and got straight into the guard. It was just flawlessly done. But Israel is like a slippery snake, and he just immediately slunk the leg back out and pulled Gastelum into full guard. And then no more than 2 seconds later, he pushes Gastelum right off and gets straight back up. And as anyone that's watched enough fights knows, it costs far more stamina to drive for the takedown and get the guy to the floor than it does for that guy to just pop straight back up again. So at this point, Gastelum has definitely wasted more energy than Israel has at this fight, and in rounds 4 and 5 it does begin to show itself more and more. But that's kind of it for round 3. As I say, there wasn't really too much to go on. Apart from the takedown though, it was pretty much Israel for most of the round. He landed the better strikes, he landed more strikes. So I would say regardless of the takedown, it kind of has to go to Israel again, but definitely a 10-9. Moving into round 4, Gastelum starts out really strong with some nice combos before briefly clinching Israel up against the cage, but Izzy very quickly escapes and gets out of there. Then about 4 minutes 12, Israel tie clinches with Gastelum and fires a beauty of a knee right into Gastelum's solar plexus, and that slows Gastelum right down and opens his mouth, makes him breathe from the mouth for the first time in the fight, and he's basically breathing from the mouth for the rest of the fight then. I mean, he only begins to slow down more and more and more as the time goes on. He really does get to feel the edge of his gas tank, so to speak, in rounds 4 and 5. But about 3 minutes 40 in, Israel lands a gorgeous looping right hook to Gastelum's chin that really does land hard and rocks Gastelum. It doesn't drop him, but it does definitely do some damage. Makes him, sit back and get his wits again. Fast forward about a minute further into the round, and Gastelum comes in with this gorgeous left overhand that kind of, Israel does block it, but it kind of sweeps past the block and just grazes down Israel's face, causing Israel to get busted open under the right eye, and he bleeds for the rest of the fight from that eye. It was a very, very good overhand, very well timed. Splits the eye right open, as I say. Fast forward about another minute though, and Israel counters one of Gastelum's hooks, I think it was, with a beautiful jab. But then Gastelum immediately comes back with his own jab, and both men are like, not rocked, but they're like stunned a bit, and they have to like reset themselves. It's quite an interesting thing to see. And then Israel kind of manages to reset himself a little bit quicker than Gastelum does. Comes in with a 5 straight combo with lefts and rights before ending in a head kick that partially lands. Really, really nice head kick, very well timed. And then both men sort of stand in front of each other and kind of phone booth trade for about 15 seconds. They just kind of forget footwork, forget movement, and they just kind of box each other's heads. It was unreal to see. It really was. Very impressive. But eventually I think it's Israel that takes a little step back and kind of initiates the movement and the resetting again. And then he lands a beautiful, beautiful leg kick that forces Gastelum to kind of reset his legs a bit and, kind of bounce a little on his lead leg. And then about 54 seconds left, Gastelum lands this gorgeous, and I do mean gorgeous, head kick right through the guard of Izzy, and it rocks Izzy. Puts Izzy right up against the fence, and everybody's like, holy crap, this is it, this is the end of the fight. Gastelum comes in strong now, he's going to beat Israel, and this is going to be the end of it. Does he? No, he doesn't. He does anything but. He goes for a bloody takedown. He initiates a bum rush takedown like a fool. And, it's already infamous on the net because it was such a poor decision. He could have, nothing is 100%, but he definitely stood a good chance of finishing that fight there if he'd have just followed through. But, hey-ho, we all make mistakes. And then it gets to about 30 seconds in, after Israel stops the takedown and gets out of the clinch, gets away from the cage, he comes back with his own head kick that sort of glances past Gastelum's face, sort of clips the nose a little bit. Definitely does some good damage. And that's about it for round 4. But round 4 definitely goes to Gastelum for that head kick. Definitely. And then we move into round 5, and this is where everything changes. We see not only which fighter wants it more, but also which fighter has the better gas tank and the better management of their gas tank. So in round 5, Israel immediately begins to take over the fight, showing he wants it more, he lands more, he's being more devastating, he's landing kicks, he's landing jabs, he's landing hooks, he's landing body punches, body kicks, you name it, he is seriously taking over the fight. About 3 minutes 40 seconds in, Gastelum's really feeling the pressure now. He shoots for a takedown. Israel decides to allow the takedown to sink in, and he goes for a guillotine choke and pulls guard. Gastelum spins out. They scramble. Gastelum winds out on top, but Israel immediately goes for a triangle choke. It looks super tight briefly, but doesn't, sink in for too long. Gastelum manages to slip out. Both men look tired at this point as they get up, but Gastelum seems far, far slower than Israel, and Gastelum's punches seem to have lost all their pep, whereas Israel's punches have still got pop to them. They're still coming out fast. They're still connecting with force, whereas anything that Gastelum's throwing is coming out real slow, real laboured. Lots of effort needed to put anything out at this point. I feel as if that the pressure of Israel in the fifth round, plus the takedown attempts, and then fighting off the 2 submission attempts following that, just took everything that was left in Gastelum's tank, and he was just out for the count at this point. And it's from here that Israel literally takes over the fight like there is no tomorrow. He lands a gorgeous 4-hit combo to the head, followed by a leg kick. Gastelum looks absolutely knackered now. He's just plodding forward. His mouth is wide open, but Israel is really beginning to take over with his striking. He looks far, far fresher at this point as well. Gets to about 2 minutes 25, and Israel rocks Gastelum with a gorgeous, gorgeous straight right. You fast forward to like 20 more seconds, and he lands a powerful right hook, which Gastelum immediately steps back and sort of nods his head at Israel in acknowledgement to be like, okay, now you're throwing the power punches. I understand. Now now it's going to be tough. And we do see at this point that he kind of changes. He stops throwing out the jab to sort of stop you in your tracks, and he's now throwing sort of power hooks and power straights to really sort of do damage and look to finish the fight, get Gastelum out. And it's one of the very first times that I've ever really seen Israel throw pure power hooks and the like. But it shows he definitely does have the power. Definitely. Because you fast forward a good 30, 40 seconds more from the acknowledgement of the hook, and he lands a beautiful, beautiful counter off a lazy leg kick from Gastelum. I always hate to see when fighters do this, especially when you're low on your gas tank. High on gas tank, bad enough. Throw a leg kick with force. Don't just throw them out lazily. It's so easy to counter if you do that. But if you are low on the gas tank, the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a position where you're only on one foot. And if you do have to do that, throw with all power. Throw with everything you have left. Do not throw a lazy-ass freaking leg kick like it's going to do anything, because it doesn't do a thing. Adesanya just eats it like it's nothing and counters with a powerful right hook, rocking Gastelum and sending him stumbling backwards. Izzy comes forward, lands a gorgeous counter combo, ending in a huge straight right that just drops Gastelum right on the spot, literally like a feather being dropped in the hand, or a rock being dropped in the hand, more to speak. He just poof right to the ground. It's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable, the punch that he gets hit with, and it doesn't knock him out. I mean, anybody else gets hit and dropped like that, they're out. I don't care who you are out. So props to Gastelum's chin. It is made of granite, literally. But Izzy just continues the pressure. He follows up with some strikes on the ground. Lands a couple of hammer fists before Gastelum grabs a leg, manages to get up, drives Izzy to the cage with it, goes for a takedown, but Israel just manages to stuff it, land a couple of elbows, which briefly drops Gastelum again to one knee before he gets back up, drives the takedown again, but fails to get it. Israel pushes his head off, manages to escape from the cage. They break, and Izzy lands some absolutely gorgeous combos to the body and head, ending in a straight right that rocks Gastelum. At this point, Izzy really feels that, okay, the fight's in the bag here. It's mine. I'm taking you out here. So he comes forward, sort of eggs Gastelum on with his hands to say, you know, come on man, let's fight. He lands a gorgeous right hook again, drops Gastelum yet again, and follows up with some gorgeous elbows on the ground, lands some hooks on the ground, as well as some more hooks as Gastelum sort of spins round and tries to step up onto the feet. As he's sort of, you know, curling up kind of thing, and he turns around, after being busted open, should I say, it is at this point on the ground when the hooks are being landed that Gastelum gets busted wide open in, I believe it was either his nose or his mouth. It was a bit hard to tell, but I think it might have been his nose. But it gets busted wide open and there's blood just dripping all over the octagon. He just about manages to get back up, but as he turns around, Izzy lands a absolutely beautiful 4-hook combo, drops Gastelum yet again, and then finishes the fight on top with strikes. Easily the best round of the fight for either gentleman, in terms of sheer excitement, and one of Israel's greatest rounds in his entire career, both through kickboxing and MMA and everything. Easily one of the greatest rounds he has ever had. He really seriously showed how good at striking he is, and takedown defense and everything. And no argument from me, a 10-8 round, easily. Even if it was the old scoring system and not the new scoring system, it would still be 10-8. But with the new scoring system, 100%, 10-8 round. Final score for me, we had Gastelum take the first round, 10-9. Adesanya takes rounds 2 and 3, 10-9 and 10-9. Gastelum takes round 4 at 10-9, but then Adesanya takes round 5 at 10-8 to make it 48-46 to Adesanya. And that's my final scores for the fight. The judges also saw it in the exact same way as me, with the exact same scoring, and they all saw it 48-46 with the exact same rounds as me, funnily enough. So yeah, my final thoughts, I gotta say, just an amazing fight. Both fighters showed superb amounts of heart, skill, chin, footwork, grit, you name it. They showed it all. They left everything in that octagon for us fans. And I can't say enough about how impressed I am with both guys. I don't think you can take anything away from either fighter. Regardless of the loss for Gastelum, I don't think his stock drops even remotely throughout this fight. Yeah, sure, he might drop a place or two in the rankings, but he will immediately work back up. And as Israel himself has said, I really do see Israel and Gastelum fighting again in a couple of years' time for another belt of some kind. I really do. Because they're both amazingly good fighters, and it's really, really tough to say which guy is better. I think, yeah, well, I mean, the score says it all. Israel did edge out on this fight, but I think if Kelvin managed his gas tank a little better and focused on wrestling a little more, things might go a different way. So we'll have to see. Only the future will tell us. But anyway, I really do hope you guys enjoy this new style of video. I think I will be doing one on Holloway and Poirier as well, but I'm not too sure about that. We'll have to see. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoy all the other uploads I have queued up. And until next time, see you guys soon. Bye-bye.